Hi, this is Tawny from the Kinsman Free Public Library, and today's book recommendation is Welcome to Night Vale by Joseph Fink and Jeffery Cranor. Welcome to Night Vale is a really unique and interesting story slash book. It actually started out as a podcast called Welcome to Night Vale by Joseph Fink. This book and the podcast both take place in a non-disclosed small town that could be our small town, or the next small town over, or some random town in Nevada. Nobody knows. But, unfortunately for this poor small town, unlike having problems maybe with runaway cows or any other mildly weird small town problems, cows on the side of the road, horses escaping their closures kind of a deal, they have some more sci-fi themed problems, like a dog park that does not exist. You cannot look at the dog park. Don't acknowledge the angels helping the cute old lady. Those angels are not real. And most definitely make sure to hail the glow cloud. These are just some of the weird things you get. And as you're listening to the podcast itself, it's told from the perspective of a radio show host for the small town's radio station, who the impressions given never leaves the recording studio, or he can't leave the recording studio. The book, though, is about the girl who owns the pawn shop, and then another little boy who can't quite seem to keep his form stable. Some days he's a boy, some days he might be a giant lizard, or both. Just depends on his mood. And the adventures they go on to find themselves and the answers they are both seeking. The book and the podcast do not need to be listened to / read together, but if you do it together, you'll get more of the experience. The book plays off the podcast plays off the book, so you get this really fantastic, well-rounded reading experience that's a little bit different than just reading a normal book would be, or just listening to a podcast. Let me give you an example of the writing style. Also, can we talk about the inside of the book? It normally flies would be gross, but it's incredibly fitting for the book. For this particular book. The history of the town of Night Vale is long and complicated, reaching back thousands of years to the earliest indigenous people in the desert. We will cover none of it here. Suffice it to say that it is a town, like many towns, with a city hall and a bowling alley, the Desert Flower bowling alley and arcade fun complex, and a diner, the Moonlight All-Night Diner, and a supermarket, Ralph's. And of course, a community radio station reporting all the news that we are allowed to hear. On all sides, it is surrounded by empty desert flatness. It is much like your town, perhaps. It might be more like your town than you'd like to admit. It is a friendly desert community where the sun is hot, the moon is beautiful, and mysterious lights pass overhead while we all pretend to sleep. Welcome to Night Vale. And that is just the little introduction page. If this sounds like your kind of book, or if you like that weird Twilight Zone kind of a vibe in your podcast, your TV, your books, give Night Vale a shot. You won't be disappointed. It does have a sequel called It Devours, and they're both available on Libby and Overdrive for checkout automatically as of this morning. So there were no holds list when I looked and double checked. So give it a shot. If you do, please let me know what you thought of it. I am obsessed with this series. I can't get enough of it. It's so weird and quirky and fun. I really hope that if you give it a shot, you guys end up really liking it too. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.